I hope you're ready to revisit the cake mix. So back in September, it was Greg's birthday and I wanted to make him a birthday cake, so I decided to use a box cake mix and do all the tips and tricks that Google says to improve upon the box cake. I do think that that cake turned out really, really good, the cake itself. I did really, really mess up that frosting though, so we're gonna redo it, do something different. We've been watching Gordon Ramsay's MasterChef Junior and they made cupcakes. It made me really want to make cupcakes, so that's what I'm gonna do this week. I wanted to be like the kids on MasterChef Junior and put my own spin on like some flavors and stuff. I'm gonna do lemon cake and then I want to do like a raspberry cream cheese frosting. I love raspberry, I love lemon. So we're gonna use basically the exact same tricks that I used last time. So first we need the cake mix, so I'm just gonna put that in my bowl real quick. Cake mix in the bowl. Now we need to add the half cup of flour and half cup of sugar. So it's just regular granulated white sugar that I'm putting in there. I do have regular flour, but I also have cake flour. I think I used this for the sugar cookies. I don't remember, but I still have some of that, so I'm gonna use that. So it's just another half cup of flour. I don't really know the difference between all-purpose flour and cake flour. I do know that cake flour is like fine. Flour and sugar are in there, and I'm just gonna whisk that to kind of incorporate all the different powders and such. Okay, those are all combined, and we're going to put it on our stand mixer. Last time I used the whisk because I didn't yet have my scraper attachment, so this time I'm gonna try to use this. I don't think it's gonna whip as much as it did with the whisk. We'll see how that turns out differently, if it does at all. Now we need to add all of our wet stuff. It says to follow the ingredients on the box for the next few steps, but modify each one just a little bit. First ingredient is 1 cup of water, and it says instead of using water, use milk. Last time I used half and half because that's what I had. I had run out of milk. This time I don't have any half and half, but I do have milk, so we're gonna just use milk this time. And then the next ingredient is 3 large eggs. That one modification that I saw said to do 3 or 4 eggs for a recipe that calls for 2 eggs. This one calls for 3, so it's like 5 or 6. So I'm doing 5. And the next ingredient is a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, and it says to use butter instead of vegetable oil, melted butter. So I have that here. I measured the 1/3 on the stick, cut it, and then put it in here and microwaved it. Don't microwave butter unattended because it does explode. It didn't happen to me because I've done that before and I've learned my lesson. I just did it for 30 seconds. It melts like halfway, and then I kind of let it sit and cool down a little bit, and then I'll pop it in for another 30 seconds and it's like perfect. And then the last little trick, actually there was 2 more, but this one is half a cup of sour cream. I think it was a half a cup. I honestly don't remember, but I remember sour cream. So we're gonna put in half a cup of sour cream. By the way, Greg hates sour cream. He doesn't like anything sour like vinegar or anything like that, but he loved this cake. He could not tell that there was sour cream in it. I told him afterward and he was like, huh, it's good. If you're worried about that tasting funny, it doesn't. It's so good. And then the last little step is to add vanilla, and I forgot to get that out, so let me grab it real quick. So it says just to add like a teaspoon of vanilla, so I'm just gonna guesstimate that like usual. And then in order to make this lemon flavored cake like I wanted to do, I did zest a lemon, and if you don't have a zester, like me, I don't have a zester, I just use my regular box grater, and then I use the side that you would use for like taco cheese. There's like the big side for like the coarse shredded cheese, and then there's the fine one. I use that one. I'm pretty sure this side might be for zesting, but I have no idea. So I figured the shredding side would be a little easier to clean, so I just use that side. And that's 1 whole lemon's worth of zest. If you don't know how to zest a lemon, you just basically run that across the grater until you start to see the whiteness of it. This is like a regular unzested lemon. You can tell the difference in color. Once you start seeing the white, you want to stop. You don't want that white stuff because it's like really fibrous. This is just where all of the lemon oil is, so it comes off with a lot of flavor. And then I think I'm gonna do a little bit of lemon juice too. I'm gonna take that same lemon that I zested, cut it in half, and juice it really quick, and then I'll put that in my mix. So it's quite a bit of juice. It's probably like a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, which is awesome. Like, those are really juicy lemons. And I'm just gonna run that through a little sifter thing, just to strain off the seeds and some of the pulp. I mean, the pulp doesn't really matter, but. So I'm just gonna mix that up really quick and we'll see how it goes. All right, that's all mixed together and it is fluffy. It looks so good though, and it smells lemony. I love it. So now we need to fill our cupcake pans, and once again, I did not buy cupcake liners because I forgot. So we're going to have to grease our pans. Okay, I did preheat my oven. I am using a dark pan, so I did the temperature that the box said for a dark or coated pan. So that was 325. It says if you have a light pan or a glass pan to do 350. On MasterChef Junior, they use these little cookie scoops, so I'm gonna try that out and see how it works. Normally I would just use like a 1/4 cup measuring cup. All right, so let's get to filling. That's way too much. So this thing says to fill them, what does it say? I don't think it says. So I saw somewhere where it says they bake differently if you fill them 2/3 full versus 3/4 full, but how the heck do you measure that? Because I don't know. It doesn't have like, hey, this is 2/3 full on a line somewhere. Hopefully they don't do what carrot cake does and overflow and get all over my oven. And I don't think that the lemon is super strong, especially because we use butter and sour cream, so that kind of lessens the acidity of the lemon. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it sounds right. If you wanted it to be more lemony, you could probably do the second lemon worth of zest. I feel like that would probably help. Those are pretty full, and I still have a lot in here, so I'm definitely going to use both of these other pans. I do think that this little scoop is working really good. I feel like the first scoop I did was huge. I don't know how that happened, but they're like filling them pretty perfectly. I mean, I might be speaking too soon. We'll see what happens when they bake, but so far so good. And I do still have quite a bit of batter, so I mean, the instructions do say bake immediately. Seems pretty threatening to me, but we'll go with it. So I might bake these, and then once they cool enough to pop out, if they pop out, not get stuck to the pan, we'll see what happens. Then I'll bake a couple more. My oven is preheated. It's at the 325. And then I do have it for 325 for that dark pan. These ones aren't as dark, so we'll see what happens there. I do have to bake them for, what does it say? 18 to 21 minutes, and then it says add 3 to 5 minutes for using the lower temperature for the dark pan. So that would be, what, 21 to 26 minutes? Why do they make it so hard? Like, just tell me the right amount of time. So I set my timer for 24 minutes. I feel like that's a good amount of time. I don't know. I mean, when I'm baking in general, I usually do the low end, but when I'm doing cake, I feel like it's always undercooked. So I'm gonna go kind of closer to the higher end and see how that goes. All right, so I have taken the cupcakes out of the oven, and it was a complete failure. This is what they look like. They are extremely flat, and they kind of seeped over the edge a little bit here, a lot on these pans. So I scraped them out into a bowl, and we're adapting, and we're gonna make cake pops instead because cupcakes were not working. Still gonna do the same flavor combinations. Still gonna make the icing, because you need icing in cake pops to mix in the cake crumbs to make it stick together. The next step would be to crumble up the cake and put frosting in it. So what I was planning on doing was a raspberry cream cheese frosting, and that's still what I'm gonna do. The first thing I have to do is take my raspberries and basically cook them down till they're kind of like a liquid. I've done it with blueberries before. I don't know if I've done it with raspberries. So I usually do it just right directly in a pan over heat, but I think I want to do it a little slower and do it over a double boiler. So I'm gonna do my little jury-rigged double boiler where I'm gonna put water in the pot and then put a metal bowl over top of it, and the steam heats up the bowl at like an easier rate so it doesn't burn the sugars in the fruit. Okay, I just took that off the stove and like strained it. I can't like tip it to let you see it because gravity's a thing. Probably 2 or 3 tablespoons of liquid from the raspberries. Probably a lot of liquid. It's not as reduced as I would like it to be. I would rather it have been more of like syrup, but I didn't add any sugar or anything to it. It's literally just the juice from the raspberries. I've never done this before for a frosting, so we're probably gonna mess it up. And I've actually never even made cake pops before. I briefly learned how to make cake pops about an hour ago when I was in the parking lot of Party City figuring out what I needed to buy. You bake a box of cake mix according to the package directions, or not even according to the package directions. They like do different stuff with it. Obviously, we already had the cake, so I'm using whatever we have. It's probably the wrong consistency, not moist enough, or whatever. So she just had the cake in the bowl. She didn't break it up, but I think I want to break it up first just because like the tops of the cupcakes are a little crunchier than the middle. The cake isn't super moist. Like, it's moist. It's like moist like a cake would be, but it's kind of spongy. I think that has to do with the extra eggs in it. I mean, I don't feel like that would be bad. I don't know. I feel like she did 4 eggs in her batter that she mixed. I don't remember. It was an hour ago. And we did 5, so it might be a little bit more spongy than that. All right, I've got all of that pretty much crumbled. I'm just gonna set it aside somewhere. Probably here. I'm gonna use the whisk attachment, I think. Working with powdered sugar, the paddle just like puts it everywhere. I'm going to cream together my softened butter and our softened cream cheese. So I'm just kind of guessing for this recipe. I feel like I need to write down a cream cheese frosting recipe. I can't find the one that I used the first time I ever made cinnamon rolls, and I just kind of wing it every time. And I feel like I add things as I go. So it's 1 thing of cream cheese, 1 stick of butter, but I'm adding the raspberry, so it's gonna be different. We're gonna cream together the butter and the cream cheese until it's like not lumpy anymore, and then we can add the rest. And then I tasted this and it is really tart. I feel like the thinness of it is okay. It'll just make me add more sugar and that will cut the tartness. Now we add powdered sugar. I'm gonna use my little shoot because I'm gonna be adding basically a 1/2 cup at a time until it looks right / tastes right. It's really pink. I would have expected it to be a little brighter red, but I feel like it's good that it's not because then it won't stain anything, like my teeth or my shirt. It tastes really good. It's a little thin still, but I don't want to over sweeten it because I've done that to icing before and it just tastes like powdered sugar. It's cake pops. It's not going on the outside of a cake, so it doesn't have to be like firm and hold its shape. So we need to measure out 1/2 cup of this, and I'm gonna put that in here and see what the consistency of this looks like and if it holds together in balls at all. And if not, we'll add more. I feel like I need a little more. I want more of the raspberry and cream cheese flavor. That looks a little better. Still, like, I thought these were gonna end up being like bright red from the raspberries. I've heard that about 1 tablespoon up to like 2 tablespoons is like a good amount for a cake bowl. All right, so that made 21 cake balls. I think I'm going to put these in a Ziploc and pop them in the freezer because this is a lot of cake balls. Now we can move on to the hard part, which is the candy melt. And I'm terrified because I don't work with chocolate often. It says you can microwave it. That's all it says is you can microwave it. I think I'm gonna put it on the double boiler though. So I have about 6 of those in my double boiler. I'm just melting a little bit so I could put it on the sticks and put the sticks in the holes of the ball. So like I'm just gonna put like that much on the end of the sticks and then dunk them in. I don't really know if this works because I feel like all of the chocolate comes off and it's on the outside of the ball anyway. Like I get the theory behind it, like the chocolate hardens and then it's actually stuck to the stick. So now it said to let that stuff harden. So I'm just gonna leave them right here for a little bit and come back and we will dip them. Here we go, first one. Are you nervous? Because I'm nervous. Oh crap. I think we've messed up. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make it work. I feel like these are really heavy and they don't stay on the stick, so. I'm gonna add some more shortening to the melts and see if that helps at all. You know, it didn't come out, but it is messy. I'm trying not to just twist the stick because I feel like that's what made it pop out. And then normally you put cake pops like standing up into like a cake pop stand, but I'm okay with having a flat bottom on them, like kind of like a candy apple. So I feel like that's cute. Here they are. Cake pops are harder than I thought. I thought it was a cop-out, but that was really difficult. I feel like cupcakes would have been easier. It would have been easier to just start the cakes from scratch and just do cupcakes. Oh well, we did it. I hope that these go good in my work lunches because that's where they're gonna go. Some nice little raspberry lemonade pops. I think they're cute still. They're not terrible. I don't want to lift one up because I'm scared I'm gonna break it. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make a mediocre dessert. That's what I'm all about. I have a couple things up my sleeve for future videos, but if you have any ideas of things that you've seen on Facebook or Pinterest, of recipes that you've seen, go ahead and send them my way if you want me to make them because I'm always up for new things. I would like to try more savory things, so if you find good like dinner recipes or lunch recipes, send those my way. If you have any tips or tricks for anyone else trying to make cake pops, you can put them in the comments below so that they can see them, because I obviously have never done this before and it didn't turn out very well. It turned out okay. I wouldn't say it's a complete failure. We did something right, just not everything. Let me know what I did wrong. Let me know what I did right. Thank you for watching and I will see you next week. Bye.